Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm your host, Armando Leduc. We're here to explore the realms of business, marketing, and life. Ready to make ideas stick and grow them into something great? Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Managing Partners Podcast, where law firm leaders learn to think bigger. I'm Kevin Daisy. Let's jump in.
Hi, I'm Brian DeJoles, and you are watching the Duos Podcast with Spaghetti on the Wall and the Managing Partners Podcast. And we are live at the NTL Summit here in Miami, and I'm standing with Kaysia Earley. And thank you so much for being here, Kaysia.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And so tell everybody out there where you're based.
I'm Kaysia Earley, and I'm the owner and founder of Earley Law Firm. We're based in South Florida. However, we specialize in criminal defense and personal injury throughout the entire state of Florida.
Beautiful. And you were telling me a little, just wrote a book. Can you tell everybody about this?
Absolutely. This is my memoir, Houses Built by Faith, Jailhouse, God's House, Courthouse. And obviously from the title, you know that it talks about incarceration, it talks about faith, and it also talks about my experience as a litigator. So it's juicy all the way around, and I'm excited to share my story.
Yeah. And so what inspired you to write the book?
Well, over 20 years ago, I was a college student. I had 3 jobs, 2 part-time, 1 full-time, and going to school full-time. You can fact check that, okay?
Wow.
That's true. And one of my jobs, I worked at a shoe store. When my friends found out, they were like, hey, can we get a discount? I'm like, yeah, come on, everyone come. And I gave them my employee discount. Well, lo and behold, that was against store policy, which I knew, but I thought the worst thing that could happen would be fired from my job. I was ultimately arrested, incarcerated, and I talk about my experience being incarcerated in solitary confinement while pregnant, 2 weeks away from after graduating. I had to literally turn in my cap and gown for a jailhouse jumpsuit, which actually prompted me to become a criminal defense attorney.
Wow. It's amazing how something like that can end up becoming a blessing in the long run. But I mean, that is so scary. I would have assumed as well that it would have just been a slap on the wrist, like termination type of thing, but to end up in jail, that must have been really scary.
You know, you make a good point. And the reason why I ended up with incarceration is because your defense is only as good as your defense attorney. And the problem was the judge only had the allegations. What he didn't have was mitigating factors. He didn't know I was a first-time offender. He didn't know that I was in college. So because he didn't know that, I was given a harsh sentence. And so now as an attorney, I make sure I represent my client zealously. I give them the best defense, not based on what they can pay, but based on the oath that you take as an attorney. So yeah, that experience was traumatizing though. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll experience this once reading the book, but if you could maybe paraphrase and say, like, how were you able to turn things around?
It wasn't easy initially because I didn't have any mentors. I thought that once you got arrested, you can't become a lawyer. So it was a 7-year gap in between my incarceration. I worked as a paralegal in a law firm. And then later I just took the LSAT and I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. And what's the worst that can happen, right? So I went to law school. I told them that I was arrested. I passed the bar, but I had to go before a board and convince them that I wasn't the same person I was when I got incarcerated. And thankfully they agreed. And I was sworn in.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And you ended up speaking here at the summit. Can you let us know a little bit about what you spoke about?
Absolutely. So one of the sessions I spoke, it was titled "Being a Woman in a Male-Dominated Profession and Not Imitating a Man." And I'm guilty of that. When I first started my law firm, I never had my face on anything because I'm trying to build my Rolodex. My logo is actually blue and gray and white because I was imitating you guys, all right? But once I got into my groove and I started trying cases and winning most of them, okay, I have the record right now in Broward County for the most trials tried in a short span. In 8 months, I tried 56 trials. In less than 8 years, I tried 100 trials. And off of the thousands of clients I've represented, only 2 are serving a life sentence. Those are murder cases and sexual battery cases. But I've tried everything. Okay. And when I go to trial, fact check this too. It's one of me and 3 prosecutors between 3 and 5. Okay. Because it takes 3 of them to make one of me. Okay.
Let them know.
Listen, these are facts. I work hard from where I've come from to where I am now. And it's not, and I taught them in class yesterday, it's not bragging.
Absolutely
You're
not.
announcing your success. Why do we have to scale down what we have become.
Mhm.
So yeah. Did you get that?
I agree with you. And I think that by letting people know, it's inspiring other people out there of how much you've done and been able to accomplish. But it wasn't always the case. You started off trying to be like everybody else. But what
did.
was the turning point in which you said, you know what, like I'm gonna do what I want to do?
I'll tell you what the turning point was. When I first became a lawyer, I wanted to look like lawyers. I had to do the dark suits. I had to do the professional hairstyle. And I'm like, this is boring. This is not me. I got the nose ring. I got the different styles. When I'm in court, I'm in color suits. This is who I am authentically. And I wanted to make a point to the jury that you are supposed to judge the facts and the lawyers are not on trial. So who determines what professionalism is? Now, there is a fine line. I'm not going to wear a bathing suit or something that I would wear at a nightclub to court.
Sure.
But I'm wearing a red lipstick. I have my nose ring and I have my colored suit because this is who I am. The same energy I'm giving you all is what I give that jury. Okay. So yes, I love what I do. And I always say what comes from the heart flows to the heart. And that's how I practice law.
I love that saying. That's my first time hearing that. But I love the confidence, and I love that the authenticity, it became what maybe you would have initially perceived in yourself as a weakness, just because that's not how lawyers up to this point have acted. It has now become your calling card, and it makes you stand out in a beautiful way.
Be true to that own self. And I always say this. I've never been ashamed of being arrested because I know that I made a bad choice. That wasn't a mistake. I made a bad choice. But when you are true, you own it, no one can then turn it around and bring shame. I ran for judge a couple of years ago, lost by 300 votes, but garnered 15,000. Okay. But when my opponent tried to say, oh, she went to jail before, I was like, yeah, I did. So now when I run again, this time I'm going to say it's in the book. So I'm not ashamed, and I'm just confident. My natural personality, I am bubbly. This is who I am. There's a time and a place, but don't suppress who you are. Just continue to mold it into the proper setting, and it'll work.
Absolutely. And not only are you busy juggling things like writing books and being an incredibly accomplished attorney, but you also balance out family time as well, you were telling me.
I like that. Did you hear what he just said? Accomplished attorney. I love these titles. Okay, so yes, I'm a mother of 4. My oldest is in college. I've been married for over 20 years. Okay, got married right out of college. So it's a work-life balance that you have to do. I have to sacrifice sometimes work for my kids, and my children know that mommy's not going to be there always, which is why we have a 2-parent household. But it works, and I'm just making sure that I don't sacrifice one area for the other completely to where it's a disaster. So it's a juggling effect, but I think I falls in the air.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they see you and hopefully are inspired and by how hard you work and all the things that you've been able to accomplish up until this point, and even more to come. So
my kids keep me humble. They don't care about all the awards. I remember, quick story. I was getting a proclamation from the city of North Miami. Event for me. Lo and behold, my son left his basketball shorts in my trunk. So before I could even get my award, he's like, "Ma, I need my shorts." So I had to leave my award ceremony to give him his shorts, but I had to choose what was more important, his game, which meant a lot to him, or getting the key to the city. So I always tell that story that my children keep me humble because they don't see me as accomplished attorney. They're like, "Mom, what's for dinner?" Right? So
family has a tendency to do that.
Humble. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while you're at the summit, it sounds like you were able to give an amazing speech, but how about any takeaways for yourself? Like when you leave here, what do you, anything that you hope to gain, or like what would a win look like for you?
So I've been attending the National Trial Lawyers Summit for many years, but this year is different. I've always spoken at these events and did the normal networking, but I was intentional this year because I'm actually transitioning from criminal to personal injury. So I want to make sure that I'm really connected. This is a great event. I've been part of the National Trial Lawyers Top 10, Top 100, and I'm so filled. And I'm glad to even meet. This is the first time I think you all even did this here. So I'm excited. Yeah, I know, because I told you I've been here for years. This has been one of the best years. And to even just have this experience, I implore attorneys, do something different. Get out of your box. Meet new people. Go to new networking events. Get on a podcast. I'm excited. And actually, this is the highlight because I'm leaving. So this is the highlight of my entire experience. And I am honored that you chose me to be on the podcast.
We are honored. Thank you for being on here. And have you been on podcasts previously before?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do a lot of podcasts, even before I wrote the book, because everyone's interested in, they see all the accolades first. And then when I tell them, I hit them with the upper hook and I'm like, yeah, I went to jail before. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. So I have professionalism, but I have that cred. I have my inmate ID.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
It's the best of both worlds.
I was going to ask you something in regards to that, and now it slipped my mind. But is there a skill that you have that maybe isn't listed on your LinkedIn that maybe people would be surprised, or maybe a hobby?
Great question. I rollerblade.
Do you really?
I sure do.
Do you do the blades or the quads with the four wheels?
The four straight in line.
The blades.
So I was going to do it today. It's kind of, this is freezing for Florida. Are you all?
Yeah.
This is cold, but I'm rollerblading. To me, that's my release. So that's my outlet. I'm not a drinker, not a smoker, to each his own. But for me, if I put on my AirPods, put on some reggae music, my dad's Jamaican, and I am out. Okay, do you see that? Yeah, that's me.
Well, I hope to see you over there at a Galaxy Skateway or Extreme Action Park, where they do the adult nights and they got like the great music. You put on your blades and you hit the rink.
They're not ready for me. They're not ready.
I bet.
I'm gonna go right there, South Beach, right along that little winding sidewalk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I remember what I wanted to ask you, because you said you're making that transition from criminal to personal injury now. What's
my children are getting older. My son is a senior. My second son is a senior. He's going to college. I have two in college now. Criminal keeps me in court 5 days a week. I'm trying cases. Personal injury keeps me out of court. More flexibility, more money, and more time to give away to my nonprofit. This is very important. So I just want to give a special shout out.
Please do.
I have a nonprofit organization called Seeds, SEEDS, of Manna, MANNA, where I collect donations, non-perishable food, gently used clothing. Every 2 to 3 months, I ship it to Jamaica. Then I fly over there and I pass it out because I want to make sure the donations are getting in the hands of the people. I will be in Jamaica this coming Tuesday, and that's another one of my outlets. I really, this keeps me humble. So no matter how much money I make, I give it away. It's a funnel, because what profits a man to gain the whole world and lose your soul? So that's near and dear to my heart. So for those of you who would love to donate to this great charitable cause, please visit seedsofmanna.org and give as the Lord places on your heart.
That sounds like a beautiful organization. And, that's been a theme here that I've really been enjoying people talking about, is like their sense of contribution and like people.
Yeah.
And obviously we all like making money here. I know I certainly do. But at the end of the day, it's like, how do we continue to be of service?
Yeah, I think it's a misconception with certain lawyers that all we care about is money. I'm different from the very beginning. Even before the nonprofit, I would take proceeds out of my law firm and give to people. So that's continuation to all give. The love of money is the root of all evil. So I want to make sure, the love of money is what caused me to get incarcerated, because I was discounting money. So I never want to repeat the same bad decisions I make. So this is my heart of service, and to whom much is given, much is required.
Kaysia, thank you so much. Tell them one more time how they might be able to reach you and find you.
Absolutely. And I hope you all had a lot of nuggets, words of wisdom. And if you want more, you can follow me on my Instagram or social media handles at Kaysia, Kaysia Earley, Earley, or KaysiaEarley.com, same name. Bye.
And let's show that book one more time.
Houses Built by Faith, Jailhouse, God's House, Courthouse is available on all of your platforms, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or my website, KaysiaEarley.com.
Thank you so much, Kaysia.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching podcast Spaghetti on the Wall and Managing Partners podcast, sponsored by Leduc Entertainment, for all your podcasting needs.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.